We have Alex Pereira and Magomed Ankalaev fight week, UFC 313, our picks, predictions, and upsets. Before this video starts, what I want you to do down in the comments, let me know who you think is taking home the gold in this main event. You know what we do. We start at the very early prelims all the way to the main event. And today, this whole card is absolutely ridiculous, and that makes me worried for the main event. I'm not gonna lie, because we got a lot of guys that are gonna stand in the middle of the octagon and throw hands, and that makes me worried for Alex Poatan Pereira. Starting with DeJordan Santos and Ozzy Diaz. DeJordan Santos coming off a Contender Series dub. This is his UFC debut, other than his counterpart who is 0-1 in the UFC. Very unfortunate start. Could be an unfortunate start for DeJordan Santos as well. Santos is a 186 favorite to Ozzy Diaz, 170 underdog. My takeaways from Jordan: he has solid cardio, crisp striking, and he throws to land. He's not out here just throwing crazy shots. There's a method to the madness when he is throwing his punches. Ozzy Diaz, he's the older guy, 34 years old, towards the end of his tenure. I'm surprised they even signed him in the UFC. I'm not saying he's not a good fighter. I'm just saying he's an older guy, not a lot of time left on the roster. I'm trying to remember, I think he came from the PFL. He has been chinned. There's not a lot I'm going to say about this fight. Give me DeJordan Santos, the favorite for the very first fight of the night. After that, we have a hometown hero to my hometown, Chris Gutierrez, 9-3 in the UFC, and this man is an absolute dog. I don't get how he's the underdog in this fight, a 105 underdog to John Castaneda's 2-5 UFC record. 2-5 UFC record, 125 favorite. Chris has some absolute dangerous kicks. He's an amazing striker. He has a good gas tank. And what made me think that the only way John Castaneda could be the favorite, maybe he's a good guy on the ground. Last time we saw Chris Gutierrez fight a guy that could take him down, Sonya Darn brutalized him on the ground, kept him down there, couldn't really get back up. But John Castaneda really doesn't have that. He will stand in front of you, which is a plus side for Chris Gutierrez, because one thing he's gonna do, he's gonna chop those legs. He's gonna make it where you can't move. He's gonna absolutely pick you apart. I'm going Chris Gutierrez on this one. Now, maybe am I being a little biased? I don't think so. A 125 favorite and you're 2-5 in the UFC is just kind of crazy with me, and we know Chris has been in there with some absolute dogs. Shout out Frankie Edgar, flying knee knockout. After that, we have Marion Santos and Santos Marshall. Santos, 1-0 in the UFC, a 300 favorite this fight to Marshall's 2-2 UFC record, a 250 underdog. Santos coming off an Ultimate Fighter victory over, who was it? Con Offley, and when I tell you, the way he dropped Con Offley was absolutely sickening. He will stand in there with you and he will take shots to give shots. Could he be chinned? I'm not 100% sure. He's going to take those shots to make sure he can give them right back, though. He has devastating knockout power. If you have not seen his knockout over Con Offley, he has a notable, not a win, but it's he stayed in there to a split decision loss with William Gomez, who is a very, very solid prospect, actually just came off a loss, but he has amazing cardio, and that's a man that will sit in there and throw with you for 3 rounds. I think he could sit in there and throw with you for 5 rounds. Will he stand and bang with you? That's the question right now. Is Marshall going to stand in there and bang with Santos? I think Santos is coming out with the dub on this one. I'd probably say by knockout. Now, starting off the prelims, we have Alex Morono and Carlos Leal. And I want y'all to notice something. A 900 favorite, 0-1 in the UFC to a plus 600 underdog, 13-9. And Alex Morono, this man isn't a guy that you just take lightly. He's been in the ring with guys like Buckley. He's been in the ring with guys like Anthony Pettis. He knocked out Cowboy Cerrone. He has a knockout over Donald Cowboy Cerrone, and for him to be a 600 underdog is actually crazy to me. And Anthony Pettis and Buckley, he went to decisions with those guys. Those guys didn't finish him. He went to decisions with them. So he has the cardio. He can stand in there and bang with you. And for him to be a 600 underdog is kind of crazy to me. Now, Carlos Leal, he's a striker. He hasn't seen any real UFC talent. And I'm big on when you're in that octagon, there's levels to this. If you haven't seen really good UFC talent, I just don't know if you're going to be able to stay in there with a guy like Alex Morono. And will he be able to give back the shots that Alex gives him? This is my official upset of the night. And this is a massive upset. This is worth putting money on. Now, am I telling you to go put money on it because I'm saying so? No, maybe. I'm dropping a bag on this. This is go put money on it worthy. I think Alex Morono goes in there, and I think experience shows in the octagon. 600-point underdog is insane. Give me Alex Morono coming out with our upset of the night. Next, we have Bruno Ferreira and Armen Petrosyan. Bruno Ferreira, 3-2 in the UFC, a 130 underdog to Armen Petrosyan's 3-3 in the UFC, a 155 favorite. Now, Bruno, he's a brawler. He's a man that he's going to go out there and he's going to give you some crazy shots. No pun intended. He has some really nice elbows. If you've not seen his, I forget who he knocked out with a spinning elbow. I think it was his last fight. It was absolutely devastating. He does a lot that leaves himself vulnerable. He throws kicks that leaves him vulnerable. He does his elbows that leave him very vulnerable. Spinning elbows, spinning attacks, stuff like that. He can get chinned. There's an opportunity for Armen Petrosyan to go in there and chin him. Armen Petrosyan coming off a loss to Shara Bullet, but he was standing in there and banging with Shara Bullet. He was standing in the pocket and they were throwing hands, I think at the end of the third round. Shara, I think, ended up, I want to say it went to decision or Shara knocked him out in the second. That being said, Petrosyan, a brawler as well. He can be a very technical striker. He could go in there and he's going to look for openings. Now, Bruno Ferreira, like I said, he's going to go in there and he's going to throw those hands. I think he might put the pressure on to the point where Armen really has to fight back and really can't look for the good openings like he likes to look for. Give me Bruno Ferreira with the W. This is, I mean, when I tell y'all that all these fights, these guys are going to stand in the octagon and bang, that's what is making me so worried about the main event. So worried about the main event. Next, we have Joshua Van and Rai Tsuruya. Joshua Van 5-1 in the UFC. This is a flyweight bout, by the way. 192 favorite for Joshua Van to Roy Tetsuyari, 1-0 in the UFC, a 160 underdog. Joshua Van, he has some really solid power in there for a flyweight. He'll stand in front of you and he'll walk you down if you let him. He leaves himself open. He leaves himself vulnerable to shots, which in this fight, it's going to be interesting because when I tell you Rai has terrible striking, I have not seen any good tape from Rai Tetsuyari, and I've probably said his name 3 different ways so far. I've not seen any good film of him striking. Now, if you let him get in on a takedown, he is going to take you down, and he looks like he's very heavy on the ground. It looks like he knows how to use his weight well. Joshua Van, if you can just avoid the takedown, you're going to be okay tonight. And this is where levels to this comes into play. If you're not good striking in the UFC, it's going to be very, very hard to shoot a takedown unless you're some absolute elite wrestler. And I mean an absolute elite wrestler. I'm looking for Joshua Van with the W in this fight. Next, we have Curtis Blaydes and Rizvan Kuniev. Curtis Blaydes, 14-5. He is a 340 favorite to Kuniev. This is his UFC debut. He is a 270 underdog. Now, this is one of your typical heavyweight fights. Both of these guys have power in their hands. I'm not going to lie, though. Both of them decent in the clinch. Both of them decent on the ground. This is Kuniev's, like I said, UFC debut. His last fight, I want to say, was in the PFL. I'm getting all these organizations mixed up. I want to say it's in the PFL against a guy that was much bigger than him. He went in there, he chinned him, he got him on the ground. Now the guy did throw a crazy flying knee, 6'7", by the way. That he was fighting a guy that was 6. He was just absolutely massive. Threw a flying knee, he chinned him, got him on the ground, held him down there, held him in the clinch. So he seems to have decent clinch work, decent grappling, decent on the ground. But Curtis Blaydes, he's been in there. He's seen it all. He's been in there with heavy hitters. He's been in there with the guys that can take you down. He has the experience, the cardio, the power. Now, he's not new to fighting heavy hitters. and he's pretty good in the grappling area as well. I'm rocking Curtis Blaydes on this one. I don't know if I'm a guy in his UFC debut against Curtis Blaydes. Like, if you win that, you're an absolute dog. Like, that's throwing a man in the fire right there. We have King Green and Mauricio Ruffy, one of the fighting nerds. Right? Am I wrong? Is he with? I believe he's with that group right there. King Green, 15-10. He's been there, done that. 360 underdog to Mauricio Ruffy's 2-0 UFC record. 470 favorite. Now, this is another one of those fights I'm not really understanding why Ruffy is such a heavy favorite. Now, he's 2-0 in the UFC. He really hasn't seen any crazy talent. And like I've said before, King Green, he's seen a lot. He's someone that he can get KO'd. Green's chin is questionable. Ruffy leaves himself open for shots, which I think King Green can take advantage of. And Green can land. He's a guy that's going to go in there and he's going to throw his shots to knock you out. Ruffy is a guy, he's going to go in there. He's going to throw some shots to try to knock you out. Another big odds deficit for a fight that I think is going to be closer. I don't see this going out of round 2. Someone is getting knocked out. I think with this one, I'm probably rocking. We're going to stay safe and we're going to rock Mauricio Ruffy. Am I going to be surprised if King Green knocks him out? Probably not. I'll probably just be super excited to see a guy moving up like that. Next, we have Amanda Lemos and Izaman Lucindo. Probably said that wrong too. 8-4 for Amanda Lemos in her UFC career, a 114 underdog to the 135 favorite of Lucindo. I'm going to keep this one short, sweet. Give me Lucindo by any way she wants. Maybe submission, maybe knockout, maybe we go to decision. I think she's going to beat Amanda Lemos in this one. After that, we have our co-main event. Wrong. After that, we have Jalen Turner and Ignacio Bahamondes. I hope I said that right. Jalen Turner, 7-5 in the UFC, 105 underdog. Ignacio, 5-2 in the UFC, a 125 favorite. Turner coming off a KO loss. And when I tell you, I'm rocking Bahamondes on this one. His kicks are absolutely ridiculous. If you have not watched this man's highlight, he has power. He has power in his hands. He has power in his kicks. And I think he's going to go out here and I think he's going to knock Jalen Turner out. I think he's going to end Jalen Turner probably in the second round with a head kick. And it's Jalen Turner. What a interesting career path he's been on thus far. Give me Ignacio with the dub. After that, we have our actual co-main event of the evening. We have Justin Gaethje and Rafael Fiziev. Gaethje, ladies and gentlemen, a 136 underdog, 8-5 in his UFC career to Fiziev's, my bad, I say Fiziev, it's Fiziev, to Fiziev's 6-3 UFC record, 162 favorite. This fight, I guess I think Justin Gaethje should be the favorite. With Fiziev coming off an ACL tear. His last win, I think, was in 2022. Coming off an ACL tear mid-2023. Justin Gaethje coming off that brutal knockout from Max Holloway. But I just think that he should be the favorite. I don't know how Fiziev's going to look coming off an ACL tear. I guess we don't know how Justin Gaethje's going to look coming off a brutal knockout. But he is the highlight. He is Justin Gaethje. And I'm looking for him to get back in the win column. Give me Justin Gaethje by way of, I feel like I've said a lot of knockouts. Give me Justin Gaethje by way of knockout. And that leaves us with our main event of the evening. We have Alex Poatan Pereira, 9-1 in the UFC, a 112 favorite to Magomed Ankalaev's 11-1 in the UFC, a 108 underdog fight night. This will be a pick'em. And I'm very worried about this fight. I want to rock with Alex Pereira, but when you step back and you just look at it, one, this card is so good. I can see Ankalaev going in here and taking him down and brutalizing him on the ground for 5 rounds. Now, it's a little easier said than done because Alex Pereira, he's going to keep your distance. He's going to kick your legs. He's going to tear you apart. If you can get him down, you're going to have to finish him early because if you let him to get to 4 and 5 and your legs are battered and beat up, you can't shoot those takedowns anymore. He's going to tear you apart. And I think Alex Pereira is going to win this fight in round 4 if he can survive the Magomed Ankalaev onslaught of takedowns, which he's going to do. A lot of people were like, Magomed Ankalaev said he's going to go in there and box with Alex Pereira. No, he's not. And he ran that statement back quickly. Now, Magomed Ankalaev taking this fight during Ramadan. It's going to be interesting seeing the energy he has. He is breaking his Ramadan fasting to make sure he can cut the weight, which let's give this man a round of applause. Very, very dedicated to Ramadan, very dedicated to his religion. You got to give him the props for making this tough decision. I am rocking with Poatan. I'm not going to rock against Poatan. Now, do I think Magomed Ankalaev could go out there and get it done? Absolutely. But Alex, the aura is there. The framework is, I don't think he's going to be as easy to get. He's been easy to get down before, right? But his defense on the ground is pretty decent. He's going to hold you close. He's not really going to let you get in positions to finish him. He's going to make it, if anything, he's going to make it go to the scorecards and lose to a decision. So I'm rocking Alex Poatan Pereira. So, ladies and gentlemen, what I need y'all to do down in the comments, let me know your lock of the night. Let me know your upset of the night, and let me know, are you ready for some UFC 313 action? Don't forget, like and follow.